Hello. I just finished eating a meal bar. So kind of forgot to, test out my voice. I'm going to try turning up my microphone a little bit. Hopefully I don't peak too much. I have had some information, some realizations that my audio is typically not as loud or equalized with other streamers' audio. So let me know if my microphone peaks or does whatever the thing is called when it hits the maximum level and just goes all grungy, grimy. Anyway, hi, welcome to another One Line of Code. I'm One Lion. As I put in chat, as you can see over there, hey, I actually got the direction right. .NET Conf is going on. If you don't know what .NET Conf is and you are a .NET developer, it is a conference that Microsoft puts on every year, and it's usually centered around their major .NET framework release, .NET SDK release, framework. And this time around, it's .NET 8. Definitely feel free to check them out. Oh, I think Dukasoft put a command in his bot. .NET Conf. Oh, he put it in Stream Elements. Awesome. Thank you. And you can see the agenda there. If you don't know by now, you get timed out 5 minutes for not knowing. Hi, Irish John Games. You got first today without probably intending to, but you did. Deflex is here. Dukasoft is here. Thank you guys for hanging out. I will not be. I will never be offended if you only ever turn on my stream to lurk without audio because you want to support that way. I also am not bothered if you just don't come to the stream at all. I love to see you here, but I don't ever want anyone to feel obligated to be here. Just because I'm streaming does not mean you have to show up because you've done it for so long and for whatever other reason that just makes you feel trapped. I don't want you to feel trapped. Be free. I want you to be free. Anyway, but yeah, I'll be trying to listen in to those guys, the Visual Studio channel on Twitch. Whoa. Man. That disorients me so much when they do that. Except I have no idea what they're currently talking about. Oh, building resilient cloud services. So I won't be tuning in as much. The point is, what we're going to be doing today on this stream is not .NET 8 oriented. It is continuing on with our UI and UX stuff because I really, really would like to get better at that. So if that is not the content for you, I completely understand. If you just want to hang out, not .NET 8, well, forget it, I'm out. I understand, and thank you so much for those bits. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Apocalypse. Welcome in. I'm trying to find my... That stopped me from being able to think about which display I'm trying to connect to. That was rough. My brain went. What am I doing? Okay, so that peaked a lot. I was in the high red. Is my voice too loud, especially when I chuckle or giggle or snicker or whatever that sound is? Oh man, Tyron is saying, I'm impatiently waiting for all my dependency NuGet packages to release .NET 8 versions. Hurry up, guys. Yeah, one more reason to try to stick with .NET Standard as long as you can if you're a library developer. That way, for whatever .NET release comes out, you know that you'll be compatible. But yeah, you get so many benefits with .NET 8 right now. They talked about so many good optimizations during it. Shush, phone. Nobody asked you. Okay, so this is where we are at in our project. No idea, not listening today. True, but thank you, Deflex. That means that on community day, when we have our guests, I need to make sure that they get equalized with me. We don't play at the code level. I suggest asking. Stack Overflow. Great. Great. Where am I? Where are we? Oh, I was talking about the project. So our stream project has been this financial management tracker, which is an application that we were trying to do to demonstrate. That's the word I keep looking for. Demonstrate what a full stack developer process would be like for an actual product. I didn't do the best job in the design stage. I probably, thinking back about it a little harder, I probably would have outsourced that to someone, come up with a UI design for a financial management application. Here's the functionality that I want. Here are the various, skeleton information, and then get a designer to come up with a beautiful design. But with that in mind, we went ahead and did all of the functionality. We still did a design session before actually implementing the app. We came up with all of the ideas for what the app is going to do, for what the backend would look like, for the application solution structure, for a few screens, sketched screens, and then wireframed, and then these designs. And yeah. And then we implemented the code. We implemented the design, the app, etc. And after we finished with that, I'm like, you know what? I really, really do want to get better at design. So let's go ahead and do an app redesign. So that's what we're working on now. I started off by taking all of the components in the application that I felt could get turned into Figma components. So for example, how many times did I click on these? There we go. All right, so here's the home. For example, the hero section, I turned into a component. Cards, I turned into a component. This is just a card, essentially, that we're going to design using the base card. And buttons, I think we turn into components. So this is an error because it's not running. The backend is not running. So that was a component. Maybe we want to create the actual input controls as components. Maybe we just find a library out there that already has input controls. But yeah, buttons. And really there isn't too much else as far as reusable components that we need for our design. So that's what all of this is. I started coming up with a grayscale color scheme so that when we actually decide on our colors, we can just update them here and they'll update within the app, or wherever. They're variables or styles. So we update them here and then we'll see those changes immediately throughout the actual designs that we got. Raw savagery from this lad sometimes. From Duca Soft. Although, savage as he is, much love. Much, much love. All right, so anyway, that's where we're at with the design part, the redesign part. This is the original design. We're going to redo it using our components. But in doing so, the one step back that I still need to take is let's ideate. Is that a word? Define, ideate. Ideate, form an idea of. Yes, so let's ideate what the redesign process is going to be like. And so I'm using FigJam. They have this built-in generator that I told it what I wanted to generate, which is a plan for doing a redesign for the financial management tracker. And then I told it a whole bunch of information about the financial management tracker and it generated these. I'm going to call them lanes because that's what I'm used to calling them. So there's another app called Mural, and it pretty much, there's like a specific design template that gives you lanes. And so again, what a lane is you and your team, they have these sections of brainstorming, of designing, of doing all of those processes that you work on one lane at a time, as a team. You put in information and then you carry that information over to the next lane, and then you start refining until you are at the final design. So yeah, that's really cool. So I think that's what FigJam gave us here. And then I put in a second prompt to do the actual main screens, I guess. And so we ended on this one. We started doing some brainstorm in our last stream. And if anyone else, like, I really want to open this up to you guys, but we do have a lot of trolly people that I don't want to. Like, the most I can do is give you a view link. So I already gave you a view link for this, and I can share that again, the view only link. So you can come into the actual Figma design. These are called designs. You can come into the Figma design, look around, inspect the elements and stuff, see how I put them together. But it would be cool if I could give you access to edit. Although from what I can see, the only access that I could give you for this is view only. Unless I gave individuals edit access, and I would have to add you via email. So you probably wouldn't want that recorded on screen. But anyway, the reason for that is because it would be cool if we are all individuals. Yeah, but I mean, I'd have to put in all of your email addresses, and I don't know how it shows up here. Like, is it just your name that shows up? And if so, is that even something you want on the stream? Sounds like NoDocs needs a new feature. He needs to make a browser extension. Quick shout out to Thindle, who was streaming earlier. / shout out. There we go. So if you don't know who Thindle is, he is a .NET developer modernizing an application going from .NET Framework to .NET Core, using Blazor, using a whole bunch of the current technologies. He started playing around with .NET 8 as soon as it came out, to be first, of course. And I did get Twitch login to work with Azure AD B2C. I don't know what you mean by that. Like, I didn't even know you were working on trying to get B2C to work with Twitch in some way. Are you talking about like your own bot or what? So we could do a Blazor page that people can log and submit their email. Okay, so yes, side project for that. And Mojo's like, yes, let's do it. But yeah, right now I'm focusing on this design thing, the redesign part. So we will eventually get our project updated to .NET 8. We'll use the new .NET 8 Blazor web app template and do identity that way. We could go as far as adding Azure B2C. Actually, it wouldn't be B2C. I mean, it might be. I don't know. I was just thinking it would be the regular MSAL. You use your regular identity login. But yeah, I don't know enough about it to say what it is. So if you say that that is B2C, then it's B2C. But I was just thinking, here's a login button, choose Microsoft as your identity provider, you log into it. And my app is told, hey, this thing logged in. Here's some credentials. Okay. So I'm on this step though. Identify pain points in the current financial account management UI and propose solutions. Did I do any of that up here? Nope, these are all just ways to improve the functionality. That's cool. So I actually listened to that. So what are some current pain points? The pain points is the visual appeal, in my opinion, of your landing page. There is no flow from the landing page to any of the get help or learn more or get started pages. Or Entra external ID in preview, I think. So desu ne. Yeah, I mean, definitely if you have any thoughts on this specific step that we're on, we can just talk through it, brainstorm some ideas. If you don't, I completely understand. You don't have to do anything. Again, I don't like making people feel obligated or, I don't know, just strong-armed into doing anything. But for this specific part, I'm looking for pain points in the current UI and then proposing solutions for them. So actually, let me get the app backend running so that we can still look through the app. Oh yeah, I'm gonna turn this off. I'm tired of seeing this message. So this is when I was trying to set up an Anaconda environment, Miniconda environment actually. And so one thing that was needed was to do this Python init thing, and that created this profile, and the profile can't run because it's not signed, or the PowerShell script, I should say, for that profile can't run because it's not signed. So what I was thinking of doing, which I haven't done, so I'm just going to get rid of it for now since I'm not using it anyway, is create my own self-signed certificate for the purpose of signing that PowerShell script, and then trust my self-signed certificate so that I could run that PowerShell script. That doesn't make sense. So this is in Documents, Windows, PowerShell. And I'm just going to turn you to .back. And yes. Okay, so if I were to open a new developer PowerShell, you can see that I don't get that message anymore. Yay! CD Finan Wasm Server .NET watch. All right, thank you so much for the follow. I really appreciate you. Aggressor 1 release 1. Will you have future releases? I don't know if you guys watched Irish John's stream 2 streams ago. I think it was Monday, where he set up the NVIDIA broadcast and just completely cleaned up any of his green screen issues, and it's so clean now. It's so good looking. Shout out to Irish John Games real quick. But I was like, with the quality that you got from that and the artifacts that I get with XSplit and the fact that I'm also paying for XSplit, actually it's, oh yeah, there it is. Okay, so you can see some of the artifacts happening there under my arms when I lift them up. I wonder if broadcast would be better for me, so I downloaded broadcast, tried to install it, and it turns out my video card is not an RTX, and broadcast requires an RTX. I totally thought that my video card was. That's fine. That's fine. Artifacts. Yar. So that was surprising. Or is it Yartifacts? Speaking of Yar, the link, actually, Stream Elements just posted it anyway, just before I shouted out Irish John Games. That's funny. You can see, so proud of this guy, that Irish John Games is now published by Microprose, and it is officially up on Microprose's website. In fact, it might still be on their main hero page, their landing page. Irish John Games, Rise of Piracy. Oh, it's so good. So cool. So proud of you. It's awesome. Anyway, so check it out. There's a link to the store page on Steam. If you go there and it takes you in the browser and you're not logged in the browser, just push this little button that says open in Steam. And then you can wishlist it if you haven't already. Early access available winter 2023. No idea. Doesn't matter. I wasn't trying to put any pressure on you, John. Man, I am like justifying and qualifying everything that I'm saying. Oh, I was struggling earlier today. But I'm good now. We're good now. So, ideas on the app. I'm going to refresh the app now that I have .NET watched it, except I stopped. Install 704, and that's in globals. Okay, anyway, I have to have .NET 704 specifically installed because that's what I put in my globals.json so that I wouldn't try using .NET 8 when I did .NET Watch, or .NET 8 Preview, I guess, at the time. So if you aren't aware, so I am doing some .NET 8 stuff-ish. I'm telling you how to get .NET 8 on your machine. You go to .NET, so DOT, period, NET. That'll take you to this page, and it's just this download button to get .NET 8. It'll download immediately, etc., etc. But for me, I already have .NET 8 installed because I updated Visual Studio. So instead, I want to go to all .NET versions, .NET 7, .NET 7.4. Yeah, let's go ahead and do 404. I'll update my globals.json. JSON. Hello. And I'm going to close Visual Studio because reasons. But as I mentioned, this app will be upgraded to .NET 8. We'll use the new .NET 8 Blazor web app template to remake the application part. What's going on with my display window? Why did it completely disappear just then? one more solicitation and I'll drop it. I had to get a new monitor because I think my backlight on the other monitor just wasn't working or stopped working. I did some testing, did some research, and they said use a flashlight. This will be an easy way to tell if it's the backlight on the monitor. And so I did the flashlight test. It did exactly what they said it was going to do if it was a backlight issue. Problem is, I don't know if it's the board, a capacitor on the board, a resistor on the board, or the actual backlight strips themselves. I'm not smart enough to figure it out myself. Tried to take it to a repair place and they're like, we're going to charge you $300, so you may as well just get a new monitor instead. So I got a monitor that costs less than $300, thankfully. So I have that now, but I also have this other monitor where the only issue is potentially a $10 fix to replace a capacitor or a resistor or some backlight strips that I don't know how to do. But if any of you are interested in trying to fix it yourself and keep it, of course, for yourself, just contact me on Discord. We can talk about, anything. So just let me know. All right, I won't bring it up anymore. Did it finish? And hello, Matt. Downloaded .NET 8 and my app stopped working. Had to revert. You don't have to revert. So that's exactly what I'm doing here. Let me show you a thing. Once I make sure that the .NET 8 installed, you can still download .NET 8. You can upgrade your Visual Studio, blah, 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 blah. Just make sure that you download the .NET 7 version that your app can run on without needing to upgrade all of your NuGet packages, etc. And change the target framework. This one, please. Okay, so as I mentioned just moments ago, when I use the command line to do .NET Watch, it would try to use .NET 8 to run my app normally, but because in my, in my projects directory, which I'll navigate to manually, one lion. Whoa, that's a lot of words, Deflux. I can't read. Source. Okay, so here is my actual solution folder. One up from my solution folder, I have a global.json file. And you can see Thindle's beautiful no docs plugin working. And hi Thindle, I will read Deflux's question first and then I'll read yours. Watch it not even be able to load anymore. Anyway, and here I have just this simple entry in global.json, which is specifying what SDK to use when running the app. Oh, it's not a real question. Thindle is just saying I'm watching .NET Conf. So my disclaimer is if you aren't able to put mental resources on this stream, please don't. Don't stress yourself out, please. Play us. Okay, so anyway, I just downloaded .NET 7.404. So that's what I am putting in here so that when I do .NET Watch, when I try to run it, it uses the right .NET SDK. So that I can actually run the app. And so all you have to do is just make sure that global.json is in the directory. I don't know if it has to be in the directory above, but I think the check crawls up from your solution directory, or maybe even your project directory. It crawls up to look for a global.json file. So anyway, there we are. It's running like magic. Okay, so Deflex says, I do have a Blazor server question that I may post into Discord. You may. You mean might? Because we know you have permission to. Anyway, I'm gonna shove it here. If there is an easy answer, would love to hear from chat and also me. As always, my question is thus. Say I have a Blazor server, Razor page, with a route of OBS view, and I add a page with a I just read the same sentence over. And I add a section outlet in there. How can I reference that instance of the page since Razor files are scoped? Can I set a page to only have one instance? I don't know what you mean by that, actually. I would want more information because I think the terminology that you're using is not quite right for what you're asking. No matter what you do, .razor files are just classes. When you navigate to a page, it is an instance, like you're saying, but it's not like having two tabs open to the same page are going to make them two different instances within the same running app. Those are now two separate sessions. So they are not the same instance, but they're also not the same session. They're separate. So if I log into it on my browser, your website / your page, OBS view, for example, and you log into it on yours, the one that I'm seeing is not the one that you're seeing. So your section outlet really is just a place for you to update I don't know where instances come into play with this. That's what I'm trying to get at. Or anything, like regardless of how many times you open the page, where is the concept of having multiple sessions or instances or whatever the right actual word is for it in order to put the content there? Like I haven't used section outlet yet. So I want to put sometimes something into the OBS page, and I want there to only be one OBS /OBS, so there's not a separate one per session. Yeah, that still doesn't quite make sense. So I want to understand, and that's why I'm going to keep asking clarification questions. I'm here in my data entry page, data entry route, right? Is the situation you're saying I am now opening this data entry route in a new tab? Duplicate tab. There it is. And you're saying that you can't have multiple tabs open to the same page? Is that what you're trying to restrict? Or are you trying to restrict the fact that in your code, you only have one app page OBS view? Because if you have multiple /OBS views on a page attribute throughout your app, then you're going to run into issues. So in terms of concept, the OBS will be added as a browser input in my OBS, and I want to be able to add content to that page. But the OBS instance is a separate session to my browser session. Yes, correct. Okay, I think I get it. Here is my bot page. And let's say that I had a browser source. That's called bot page. Yes. And I tell it to go here. Right now, the only thing that you see is an error. Oh, probably because this is a WASM page and I can't do a browser source to my WASM page. But anyway, let's say that you could actually see stuff. Let's make my background color pink. There you go. Okay, so this is my browser source. Let's say that you are actually seeing content from this page. You want to be able to modify this web browser page that you have open in a separate browser and have it affect the content that's displaying in your OBS browser source. Okay, what you're talking about is something that could be solved with SignalR, gRPC, some kind of way to let whatever browser session is connected to your server know there was an update to the content. So what you're doing is definitely something that I'm intending to do. So I have a chat view, for example, and the chat view is only the chat content itself. And so the thing that I want to see is in my OBS browser source, only the chat content. But I want to tell it how to connect to chat, which chat to show on that page, all of that stuff from my main control panel area dashboard thing. So I do that in my browser, it updates, and then the server SignalR hub is what I would use, sends out a broadcast to anything that's connected to it that says my chat options have been updated. And then on that page, it will say, all right, I got that information. There's another option. The second option is to use a singleton. So use some kind of model or whatever it is that says, here is the content that I want on that page. So an example would be, add new item. Actually, I'd put this in state. Of course I would. Add new item will be my OBS content state, or whatever you want to call it. You don't have to call it state. Do the thing. Okay. Public. And so this would probably have something like public render fragment content. And so you can update this content here. And in order for you to have the same instance of that thank you. In order to update that content, so I just created a new class. That's all. Wherever you want to create it, whatever your project structure is. And then I added a render fragment content. And so this content is going to be generated by you, maybe by modifying another page. I don't know if I can go through this entire implementation without thinking too hard, because right now this is just off the hip and I don't even know if it would work really well. But anyway, so here's this OBS content state. And so in my Blazor server app, I would do a builder.services.add singleton OBS content state. And when I'm going to use it in the page, then everyone will get their own /OBS page. So for me, let's just use data entry. Or index, I don't care. So here is the thing that's going to render my inject, allow null, private. What is that thing called? What did I just call it? It's in my clipboard. OBS content state. Why aren't you actually doing anything? Anyway, so I inject that thing that's going to control my UI, and then I output my rendered content. Just content. And I would make sure, like, I would have something that listens for changes to content and then emits an event. And so this thing would listen for any changes that would happen and do a state has changed, so that this rendered content here will be mirrored on multiples. But I mean, the reason that you're attracted to this one is because I think it's a non-standard approach, whereas the more straightforward approach is using a SignalR hub on your server and broadcasting messages. Okay, well, that's my suggestion if you don't want to go with the SignalR route. So OBS page content, whatever you want to call it. That's actually a better name for this. Page content. And then if it's a very specific type of component that you want, then definitely make this that. So maybe instead of render fragment, it is the actual icon component in my app. And so whenever I update my icon component here, it will update in everyone that's looking at this same instance. And then you would do the actual rendered content, probably using a builder. Add content. Add content? Add content, I think. Yeah, again, I'd have to fully think about this. I don't know if this would work, but you would essentially need a way to be able to render this component. Oh, you have it. Okay, you're good. All right, then, there you go. But definitely feel free to look for other suggestions. Don't take mine, yeah, it's just out of the blue. It's just random thought. I would like to see that working. And note that that will not work if you want to switch over to WebAssembly. No changes. Oh, and your project works with no changes. You didn't even do the global.json thing. It just worked. Oh, I apologize for any inconvenience it may have caused you, but glad it worked. Okay, so brainstorming some pain points in the app. I got the app back up and running. So pain point number one, navigating and getting to the actual core functionality of the app. Difficult to know where to go from the landing page to the actual app functionality. Pain point. Can I bold this? I can. Fix. Possible fix. So the possible fix for this is to use a different, like what I would want to do in all honesty is have my public facing app on one domain and the actual app itself on a subdomain. For example, and this might, again, it might just be weird, it might be a good idea. I'm open to suggestions. Let's say that my core applications endpoint was automatedrealms.com. So this is my landing page. And I have, here are the features, here are the services, here's the product that we are talking about. If you sign in, if you sign up for this app, you'll be able to use this product. Then when you're ready to run you sign in, do the whole login process, it will redirect you to app. And then whatever the URL is. But with that in mind, I may have multiple apps on the same domain. So this could be a suite of apps, kind of like Office, where you might have one subdomain for Excel, one subdomain for Word, etc. So maybe not. Maybe it really is just a route. I kind of like it as a separate app though. Does anyone have any thoughts? No? Okay. Okay, so how to fix it if I'm not gonna redirect to a subdomain. Oh, this one's probably an easy fix to think about, but difficult to implement. So the answer is implement the login functionality, which we will do, so may as well put it on here. So implement the login functionality and redirect the user to the data entry page on successful login. So what is this? It's in the way. Also, provide a launch button for the user. Okay, here's another thought. And again, I'm just probing for any suggestions or whatever. Let's say the user wanted to purposefully come back to this landing page without logging out. Should there be a launch or go to app? Like what I'm used to seeing is maybe a profile image. You click on that and then you click on go to app. I just found out that in my placement next year, I'll be using .NET 4.8. There's nothing wrong with staying on .NET Framework. Although that is an opportunity for you to recommend upgrading to .NET Core and that whole process, and it's so much fun. I love modernizing apps. I love going from .NET Framework to .NET Core. As frustrating as it can be, it's a lot. So maintaining the app might not be as lucrative as you want it to be, but potentially being able to upgrade to .NET Core, I think that could be super duper fun. But you have already accepted that placement, I'm assuming? So not much you can do anyway. Except for say, I don't want it. Place me somewhere else. They work in the public sector, so with councils, they will never upgrade. Yeah. It's still C#, so I don't mind too much. Yeah, but you want to work with new .NET. Completely understand. Try doing things in your own projects when you have time, if you have time outside of work. Do POCs for what it would be like if you were to migrate to .NET Core on your own time. And then say, hey guys, look how easy it could be to upgrade from .NET Framework to .NET Core. Or not even how easy. This would be the plan for migrating from .NET Framework to .NET Core. You go into the office and upgrade while they're sleeping, and then they don't have a choice. I don't like the concept of forcing people into stuff. Like, I like the whole thought of doing it on my own and having fun doing it. That would be the biggest thing for me. And then saying, hey guys, I happen to do this on my own time. Take a look at it. Do you like it? It works faster, it's easier to maintain, all of the libraries are still compatible, we can keep modernizing it and leveraging the new features, we speed it up, etc., etc. Here's all of my selling points. Do you want to use it? And they say no. We need to stick with .NET Framework because reasons. Then I'm like, well, I still had fun. It'd be nice if you guys did want to use it, but I still had fun. Okay, so this here, a launch button. Maybe this is in the account profile badge. Is that what they're called? What are these things called? Like when you're logged into a thing and you have this. I mean, I guess in the Blazor templates, they're called login display. Yeah, so like what would that be like? So if I was on Figma's landing page, then they actually have created a new document and we don't have more documents. If I was on what? If I was on some app that provides only one. Okay, so my financial institution's website. What I believe happens, and this isn't my financial institution, so process of elimination, you may eventually find out what my financial institution is, but Bank of America. They provide the login page the login form. If I logged in and I came back to bankofamerica.com, the two things that I could see happening are there is no login form and there is a go to my account button up here, or they just provide you with the login form again for you to enter your credentials, even if you're already logged in. And the thing that I'm proposing is when you're already logged in, I have a link up here to take you to the data entry pages. I need to figure out which words to use. Okay, so that's one pain point. I'm on the landing page. What do I do? I mean, I guess it's pretty easy to know what to do here. It says sign in, but sign in doesn't work, so that's why I said implement sign in. Is like the confusion would come from if this was the final product, the user would say, how do I sign up? Oh, there's a sign up link. That takes me nowhere. What if I just type something in? And I click sign in, nothing happens. What? So what am I supposed to do? And then they don't see that down here in the footer section, there's a link. And of course, this was not intended to be the production final deployment thing. What we need is a way to navigate to this. So yeah, so there's that. So I think I'm gonna leave that at that. That's one pain point, is getting to the actual app, core app functionality. The other one is there is no sitemap. The possible fix is create a sitemap. But first, determine if a sitemap is needed. If so, create a sitemap. And the reason that I need to determine that is because right now I only have one page for my landing page. Everything else is behind, or should be behind, the logged in functionality. That said, when we're logged in, I should have a footer with the sitemap, or maybe even put the sitemap link up on top. In the main data entry portion. Yeah. Okay. Another pain point. How are we doing on accessibility? Oh, do I want to turn that on? I think you guys can hear it when I turn on narrator. Here we go. You hear that? Yes.
No previous character. Main landmark. Tab contains 4 items. Payments tab item, 1 of 4. Payments button.
Yeah, okay, so there's one thing.
Tab contains 4 items.
Excuse me. The entire payments tab does show up correctly. It says I have 4 items.
Notification from Microsoft Store.
No.
Payments tab item, 1 of 4.
Don't read my notifications, jerk.
New notification.
No.
Payments tab item, 1
Stop
of 4.
it. Why am I suddenly getting notifications from the Microsoft Store? Anyway, so it takes me to the first tab item, and then when I use the narrator key plus arrows to navigate. So if you didn't know, when you launch Windows Narrator, by default, the caps lock key is the narrator key. So if you hold that down and you use the arrows, that's actually navigating. Excuse me, that's actually navigating through the document, as opposed to doing something that maybe you and I, who haven't used narrator or don't know about narrator, we would just use tab key to navigate. But I don't think that is normal. Normal is to use the narrator key plus navigation buttons. So anyway,
Payments tab item 1 of 4.
So definitely gets to the tab, but then I push navigate forward one more time.
Payments button.
And now it's on the button itself. So the button should not get the focus.
Payments
on top
tab
of that,
item 1 of 4.
If we're on the payments tab item,
Deposits tab item 2 of 4.
Can I activate it by pushing enter? I can't. Space, nope. And then narrator key plus enter? No. So I have to be on the button. So that's a common issue I found when making narrator functionality, or enhancing your accessibility so that narrator works well with your app. You have to be on the button itself in order to activate it when you're doing tabs.
Deposits
and
payments,
here
button. Payments tab item 1 of 4.
Bastard. We want to be on the actual tab item and not on the button, and still be able to activate it. So that'll be something that we want to improve. So
OBS 2.9.1 financial management.
Okay, I get it.
Exiting narrator.
Thank you. So our pain point is navigation via narrator. And I'm putting possible fix, but the actual fix is what I'm typing in this case. Improve navigation using semantic, HTML, and ARIA. Yeah, I'm also interested to know, sorry, you're gonna hear him again, what it sees as my landmarks. So I'm using the narrator key F5.
Search title bar. OBS
Oh,
2.9
why did you
financial
do that?
management. Task switch. Running application. Hello.
Oh
Financial
my
management.
goodness.
Memory usage 144 megabytes. Google
This
Chrome.
gives me such
Very
anxiety.
Exit table. Financial management.
Okay, let's try this again.
Search landmarks window.
There. Okay, so the only main landmarks that this thing sees are the banner, main. Just turn me down, Dukasoft. Again, I will not get offended. I completely understand. But anyway, these are the only landmarks that it sees.
Main, banner, 1, main, 2 of 3.
Yeah, I guess. And what is complementary?
Complementary landmark.
Oh, that's cool. So the account summary section is complementary. Yeah, that makes sense. I would have assumed that another landmark was the actual tab control.
Exiting narrator.
So this part here, I'm thinking that should be a landmark. What's the other thing that it looks for? It looks for links using narrator key F6.
Text, headings.
No, that's headings. And the only heading that I have on here is transaction history, which is all the way down here.
Blank.
So it doesn't even count
Select
this as a
account
heading.
Blank.
Probably because I'm using a
62
div
volume level.
and not
Alert.
a
DevTools is dock to
head
right.
tag. I'm
DevTools
using a
is dock to
span.
right. Space.
So either I need to add an aria tag or attribute that will let it know this is a heading, or I need to use semantic HTML. In this case, it would be a H1 because this is a major heading. And then I style it however I want to. So there we go.
Exiting narrator.
This using semantic HTML, definitely correct. Aria tags, definitely correct for making the button, and as well as forwarding key press events for things like the tab item, firing the items, buttons, action. That's a lot of possessives. Okay, what else? ¿Qué más? Another pain point is, how are we doing on contrast? Well, right now contrast shouldn't be too big of an issue because I have two colors. No, I have yellow and red down here. I have my dark color background and my light color foreground. Is there anything that has contrast issues that we can tell? I could probably run Wave on this. So let me install the Wave plugin, browser extension. And we're using Chrome. And I want this one to pin. Great. Okay, so if we were to get a score for our current data entry portion, we are looking kind of bad. 31 contrast errors. Probably not, Matt. I can't really say thanks to ChatGPT because I told it to be a jerk to me, kind of. You know what? I'm not going to log into it on this browser. Okay, so let's say I ask ChatGPT a question. How can I improve the contrast on my website? Question mark. It'll say to me something snarky like, the quest for the perfect contrast on a website. It's like trying to find a unicorn in a field of horses. But fear not. There are some practical ways to achieve this mythical feat. Start with your color palette. High contrast doesn't mean you have to go full-blown black and white, unless you're into that retro newspaper look. Ooh, here's a good suggestion. All right, so where exactly are these contrast issues? Which one did you take me to? I think we're looking at this one? No. Like, can you tell me? Do you give me any indication of which one this actually is? So, from what I can tell, the contrast issues... No, this is not a contrast issue. This is a different issue. Contrast looks like this. There they are. Okay, so my edit buttons are contrast issues. No, my close buttons are contrast issues. Really? Interesting. I thought that the red close buttons were pretty good, even for colorblind people. That red would be okay. Wow. So at minimum, we would need a 7-to-1 ratio. Is that what it looks like? Yeah. Interesting. I mean, we can definitely do that. So this color is not bad because it still indicates, you know, here is a dangerous thing to do. We could update our danger color to this on dark. I'm okay with that. The other thing that we could do is increase the font size or make it bolder, I guess. Something to make it bigger, essentially. But yeah, okay. So anyway, we have some contrast issues. Pain point. Okay, so I don't know if that is appropriate to put here since it's so general. This one is like what? And because we haven't had very many, not even very many, since we haven't had any other eyes on this really, like no, what's the word I'm looking for? Where you get other people to test it? No end user to, you know, the process. You get a whole bunch of people in a room, you ask them questions about the website, you try to have them do things like you put a wireframe together or a prototype together, and then you tell people to click through the app. But isn't there another term other than user acceptance? Like a panel or a, I don't know. You get a whole bunch of random people to click through the UI and let you know, or you collect information on what did they get stuck on. Could they figure out easily how to XYZ? And so your pain points are the ones that they struggle to accomplish. Yeah, so that's the other thing. You tell them, here's what you're supposed to do without telling them how to do it. Here's my app. You're supposed to get to the payment entry page. And so they start at this page. They get lost because there's no way to get there currently. Nothing that indicates that they should go to the data entry page somehow by logging in or whatever. Maybe they click on get started first for each of these. And that would be a pain point because nobody ever tried login directly, or few people tried. Yeah. Hey, there's something we can ask ChatGPT. What is the term for the process of having a group of people use a design prototype to accomplish goal? They are doing it. Collect. Nobody knows because nobody does it. We do in the company that I work for. We do. And that's why I'm trying to think of the actual term for it. Process you're describing is usability testing. They still have another word that they were using though. I mean, this is essentially a euphemism for user acceptance testing, so. In summary, usability testing is your crystal ball into how real users will interact with your product without the risk of a full-blown launch. So yeah, usability testing, why not? Thank you, ChatGPT. Does that make you feel better, Matt? I thank ChatGPT. Everyone just told on themselves. Yes, it does. I think Google. So we have a Google Home in a couple places upstairs, and I ask it questions, and it's like, "I'm sorry, I don't have that information." I'm like, "Thanks, Google." Not helpful. Or it'll completely mishear what I ask. Okay, so yes, with that in mind, like I haven't done any, I almost had the word field testing. Is it called field testing? But Google has everything. It's like, absolutely is. I'm like, so I'd ask a question that I know I could Google myself, and then Google is like, "I'm sorry, I don't have the information for this." And I'm like, "But you're Google. Couldn't you just look it up on the internet? Couldn't you just Google it and then give me the information? What do you think I am, an LLM? Trained on the internet? No, I think you're a search engine." Okay, so they're like cousins, where usability testing is a controlled lab experiment, happens in a controlled environment, and this is definitely describing what we do as part of our product release. Field testing is like taking your play to the streets, involves testing the product in its natural environment, the real world where it's actually going to be used. So this would be going to the Windows Store and looking at reviews, seeing the metrics from the telemetry. Okay, sure. All right, I'm convinced then. The only word that we can come up with is usability testing. So that said, oh, here was a big one that I got on the app. So because our app is a desktop app and we don't have anything up here like a navigation or I guess this is still called a navigation bar. So the address, the back, forward, home, refresh buttons, bookmarks, nothing like that. So it's just our app, title bar, minimize, maximize, close. We have a side drawer that opens up. And that side drawer used to have a little X close button. And people, true story, people complained about accidentally closing the app when they meant to close the side drawer. And it's like, how? I mean, I believe you, but like, it would look like this. Content wrapper, fly out. All right, let's put it here. So let's put our div class dismiss button. And let's just use times for now because lazy. And then we will style our dismiss button to be position absolute. I mean position absolute. And we will put it, excuse me, let me click, top. Give it a little bit of buffer above it, and right. Okay, maybe one. So the close button is positioned up here. Oh, and cursor pointer. Close button is up here. And then the actual close, and it's about this size too. And then the actual close button would look like this on their computer. And so they want to close the side panel and they click this instead of this. Probably, I can see, so you don't even notice this one because it's so much smaller than the actual app's close button. Yeah, I could see it. Anyway, so that's why I ended up doing this. What's the issue with doing a close button on the side here? Well, people like to make their screens super duper small or narrow. And so I needed to make sure that if the screen got narrow enough, they still had a way to collapse the side drawer. Oh, so many things to consider. So many things. Anyway, moving on. Matt said, if I just created an API call in my controller, how can I run it when I run my app? I'm trying to redirect to it, but I just get a blank screen. Just want to check if it worked without implementing a page that uses it. One of the easiest ways is by using a tool like Postman. What kind of project is this again? The one that you're actually launching in the browser, what kind of project is that? Not necessarily the API itself. Just an MVC one, that's fine. You can still add a HTTP client to your MVC project, but the smarter way would be the .http extension. So you have your app, you created an endpoint, and so let's say in your MVC project, so imagine this was a MVC project instead of just a Blazor server project, and you have a folder. Called API testing, I don't know. Create a file in there called test.http. When you create a .http file, you get the benefit of being able to write, it's essentially curl is kind of what it looks like to me. Let's use the other browser. You go over here. It's like a hybrid simplified HTTP requesting syntax. And so what you put in this file is, here is the HTTP method I want to invoke. Here is the endpoint I want to hit. And yeah, and then you just hit send request. It'll do all of the things needed to start up your API and then perform that request. It's super duper easy, super duper nice. Let's see if I can get one of these to work. That sounds like Brandon Minnick. What is... Right, it wouldn't work in here anyway. Let's take this file and put it in my actual API. Because I have an actual API controller in there. So tell me what your startup is. Properties, launch settings. Thank you, no docs. My Kestrel startup is 7176. I wonder if I need to use regular HTTP. I don't know for sure. And my endpoint is going to be, let's do one of our lookup lists. Yeah, let's just do get lookup items. All of them, which we should be able to do. And then of course you can do comments so that you know what you're doing. And there we go. The page that we got back is, you need, wait, no, I was gonna say you need to be logged in for this, but this is my actual landing page. Huh? That's not what I was expecting. I was expecting Jason. The bastard, according to Irish John Games. Who's sitting there looking like Baba Rosso? Interesting. I'd be interested to find out why this doesn't work, but I don't really fully want to. But anyway, point is, if you're using MVC, this should work just fine. It should work really, really well. Put in your endpoint that you want to try to test out, and then just hit send request. Cool. Anyway, I love that thing. More pain points. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think we'd be able to come up with very many good pain points because it's not been out in the wild and we don't know what complaints people would have. I've really not actually been using it as much. The main thing that I've done is just made functionality, tested that functionality, moved on to the next thing. So I don't know how beneficial the rest of this thinking about stuff to go in here will be. So we'll move on. That's what I'm trying to say. So what is this one? Explore different layout options for the financial account management UI. How do you describe in words the layout options? Oh my gosh. This is an instance where I would want to go through stuff like Dribble and say, for my landing page, a layout option would be a full page, 100 VH, 100 VW image with some simple information. Or, yeah, like this one is even that too. And I like this. I really, really like this design a lot. For our landing page, we don't really have all that much information to put on the landing page other than welcome to the financial management application, tracking application. To get started, and then maybe we could still have this underneath that, but the main headline hero could just be a full screen. Yeah. How do I describe that? I can't even finish my sentence, and I'm trying to describe what it is about this that I really like. Full screen. Hero image. Simple. Header portion. Then white space. And by white space, it doesn't necessarily mean, you know, there's actual white space between the thing up here and then whatever you're putting down here. It just means that there is space. Does it space? So white space, the main hero text, large header, financial management tracking, space, app description, main functionality description, move Jambot. Left side. Awesome. Thank you so much for the gift sub. That's really, really cool of you, really kind of you. Standout person, stand up person. Gift sub to you, Disco. So just know that you are never, ever, ever required or expected to do anything like that. I just want to have fun with you, but you are absolutely tremendously appreciated for it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Login form on the right. But if I put so the danger of putting a login form on the right, like I currently have now, is what happens if the user is already logged in? Then there would be no login form there. I would need to figure out what to put there, if anything. And if nothing, then what happens to the rest of the content in the hero section? Well, thank you. And I do not want to prevent you from expressing your gratitude. Instead, I will express my gratitude right on back. Talk. Oh. Come in. I was doing a thing on the other screen. I distracted myself. I did. Okay, moving on. So getting rid of this login here, instead we will have a sign in button, or if you're already signed in, then maybe it turns into a launch button. And instead what we would put there is, again, I really, really like this design for it. This is a fantastic layout. And so I'm going to call this full width instead of full screen then. And then instead, this is going to have a fancy graphic on the right showing something financial tracking related. It'll be great. It'll be fantastic. The good thing about this only needing to be ideas is we don't need to be super specific because they're just ideas at this point in time. So what other ideas can we have for the layout of our landing page? This to me looks financial-ish, but it's kind of cluttered. It's kind of messy. I mean, I can see that they were going for this like portfolio type of look. Or inbox or something. I don't know. I don't like that. I really like these two like clean, empty, open things. This one is for the main application. So not the landing page. It's not gonna load. Try again. There you go. Okay, so this is more like a dashboard type of look, and I don't think a dashboard would be appropriate for our application. Like the portion of the dashboard that might work is if we had a section that was like, here's some forecasting, here's your budgets, here's your account overviews only, and not here's a way for you to enter transactions. Although no, I don't like it still. I was thinking of like, gosh, there's got to be a way for me to do this eventually. What if I know I did it like this before. Whiteboard. If anyone else has the bandwidth to do so, do you remember any of the whiteboard type applications where multiple people can be on it and draw on screen? Because right now I'm just using whiteboard, Microsoft Whiteboard. There's a way to do it in Figma where I can just draw using pen. Is that a thing? So I am in FigJam, definitely. But that's a thing. Please hold. Okay, I will try. Look, it's me too. Okay, marker tool. Reach closer to me. Okay, are we good? Look at that. Okay, so here's what I was thinking. Beautiful font, yet again. If we were going to do some kind of dashboard app, then on the left here we'd have stuff like, you know, the main app brand, but then budgets and trends and overview. I guess overview would have been higher. Is there an easy way to do selecting? Yes. Wow, that is so much easier to use in Whiteboard than Microsoft Whiteboard. Wow. Oh, and if you click on their icon, it will follow them. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mojo. Okay, overview. Okay, so let's say we are in overview. So this is showing that it's got the focus and the highlight. Can I zoom in still, even if I'm following? Good. Then the main content of the page would have like account 1 and then the information about it. So balance, pending, whoa, wrong buttons, and adjusted balance. And then account 2, account 3, account 4. And then of course for every dashboard you have to have some kind of graph that maybe shows your spending, savings kind of stuff. Those are mountains. Actually, and you can't even see that. And then if you have a budget set on that, then stuff like that. Then account 2, account 3, what happens if you only have one account? Does it look ugly? What else can we fill it with, kind of stuff. And then we would have like actions that you can perform. Edit the account, add transactions, go to the main transaction history view. Yeah, okay. Where edit is something, I like arrows going up. I only like arrows going up. Edit is something like edit the account details. Add transaction is a dialog that lets you pick the transaction type. And then you enter the information. So we already have that here in the main data entry thing, but this one will be for a specific account. So you click on add transaction for that account and the only thing you get is a picker for which transaction type, and then the appropriate fields for the type of transaction you're trying to enter. And then this is TranView or something. And it navigates to the account page. Yeah, you can read that. Oh, I can't easily. Oh, you can't even see that anymore. I moved. Two finger drag. Gosh. Oh, and it's because I'm no longer following. Oh, because it has to be at the zoom level to follow. That sucks. And so the account page would be, so we still have the same sidebar. And then here's the account name. And then date, detail. I don't know what to call these things. Amount. So we essentially have our transaction history information for the account that you wanted to zoom into. The sidebar has an easy way for you to switch between accounts. So if you couldn't tell, this approach is inspired by existing financial institution places. So it kind of looks like Mint. Kind of looks like my bank, my bank site, where they have overview, and then inside of overview, the account type, and then all of the accounts of that account type broken down. Or you can click on each of them to go to a page that has just that account information and transaction. I'm waving at myself. That was really distracting, Figma. Why did that happen? That was really annoying. Anyway, so we can have our transaction details in that screen along with a add transaction button in that window. That is very different than the way that I have it currently, which is the only thing you get is this. I kind of like that. So if we don't have any reasons that I shouldn't go that route, I mean, it's tried, it's proven, and it's usable, I'm going to go ahead and put that. So this is going to be landing page. This is going to be the core app. Pages. So sidebar with nav to overview. Yeah, and so like the reason that I don't like the first page on this, at least, is I'm not a fan of dashboards. And there are probably a lot of people who prefer dashboards, but just looking at dashboards, it also sounds difficult to maintain. Do you have like still photos? So like even in this graphic, this mockup, here is something that fits nicely in this dashboard. Here's something else that fits nicely. Here's something else that fits nicely. And then here's this thing that is being called out for our graphic, but what would it actually look like in the app? You couldn't fit this in this section here. You'd probably end up extending this one to make it taller with a lot more space in the middle. And right now it's credit card sized, so you kind of know what this is. But from an implementation standpoint, this, like, dashboards are just hard to make sure that when you're on various screen sizes, it still works. What widgets do you have? So I'm not the biggest fan of that. But I am a fan of somehow having this overview page that shows all of your accounts. And man, we'll try it though. I want to be adventurous. The individual accounts by type, budgets page, trends page, trans page, and settings, if we have a settings. Settings would be your color scheme. Light and dark mode would be the only things that we will suggest, because we will have a color scheme that is product specific. But if this were like more of a customer focused app, then yeah, color settings would be you're able to customize the colors that actually show up in the app. I actually, yeah, I can select your stuff, dude. Hijacked. Hope he doesn't get pissed at me for moving his stuff. Okay, so the overview page is dashboard style with each tracked account as a, what are they called in dashboards? They're not called widgets, are they? What's a good example of a dashboard? Power BI? Dashboard. Man, I am sucking at typing. So a single page is called a canvas. And then each tile, they're just called tiles. iOS. So each tracked account is its own tile that shows the current balance, pending, adjusted balance. They have a, we can, I think the typical way of displaying this for cards is a 3-dot and not a hamburger. And then for navigation, it's a hamburger. So I think it's going to be a 3-dot. 3-dot menu with edit account details, Why am I putting quotes suddenly when nothing else had quotes? Edit account, add transaction, which opens a dialog with add transaction functionality. And close account. Oh, right. Transaction view. View transactions. View transactions. That's what it's going to be called. View transactions. Navigate to transaction page. To account page. And hide, maybe? Close account. Delete account. Okay, so to be discussed. What else could be on here? So the trends and budgets. Upcoming bills. Yeah, so essentially a for real dashboard that has important information at a glance kind of thing. I don't hate it, but I really am not a fan of dashboards. I guess I'm not a fan of implementing dashboards. Okay, so the other thing is the account page. Is that what's first? No, the add transactions, add transaction dialog as figure for transaction type. Payment. No way. Oh man. That's crazy. Okay, so I do need to end on time-ish today because they keep scheduling this meeting on Wednesdays for 12:30 or transfer. And the form. Okay, so that's cool. I'm already seeing an improvement in my actual visualization of what this app could look like. The landing page is still kind of hazy to me, but yeah, definitely the core application part. I have a much better idea of what that could look like. Dang it. You know what? Just select all this. Deselect this. And then we can move you wherever we want and put you there. Okay, so anyway, we will continue on. Actually, no, Friday. Let's go to the screen. Friday, we are actually going to be doing Community Day again. I don't anticipate there being too much activity because we'll still be in .NET Conf. I definitely don't want to take away your time from being able to participate and watch .NET Conf live. So there is absolutely no requirement. And in fact, I might, let me just double check on the agenda, but I might just cancel Friday's stream. Is there stuff that happens on Friday? This looks like Friday. It is jam-packed, man. That's Thursday. Oh, it's only 3 days, so it does end on Thursday. So yeah, I'll still have Community Day on Friday. And I need to run. So yeah, I'll be posting the recording to YouTube no sooner than 24 hours after I end the stream. And feel free to join our Discord. If you're a part of too many Discord servers already, don't worry about it. It's not a super active server, but we do have a lot of amazing, cool people there. Yeah. So, I mean, we'll talk about .NET 8 if that's what you want to talk about on Community Day. It's up to you. We will raid out. You definitely don't have to stick with the raid. I'm going over to Bardaki. And yeah, I gotta head into this meeting. Ciao for now.